The White House said that the idea for the meeting came from Vladimir Putin, the Russian side. This was announced by Karoline Leavitt, the White House spokesperson, at a briefing. She noted that significant progress was made during Special Envoy Witkoff's meeting with President Putin, and the Russian side expressed a desire to meet with President Trump. It is not known exactly when Vladimir Putin said this to Steve Witkoff, and in what wording, as the information passed through several stages of transmission, from Witkoff to Donald Trump, from Trump to his spokesman and the administration. Donald Trump may perceive Vladimir Putin's proposal as an idea for an immediate meeting, while Putin may have phrased it differently, for example, by saying to Steve Witkoff, "At some point it would be good to meet with President Trump." It is known that Putin often speaks cautiously and vaguely. Donald Trump is hopeful that after his envoy Steve Witkoff talks with Vladimir Putin in Moscow, things will move forward, and he will be able to, first, organize a meeting with Putin, and, second, conclude an agreement to end hostilities. This is Trump's intention, which he has been nurturing for a long time. Putin is delaying the moment of agreement, continuing the war, and misleading Trump, but yesterday he met with the American president's envoy, Witkoff, who is not the first to meet with the Kremlin leader. The meeting in Moscow lasted more than 3 hours, and following the meeting, U.S. President Donald Trump said that he would probably be able to meet with both Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelenskyy next week to bring the long-awaited peace closer. The New York Times reports that Trump does indeed intend to meet with Putin. This means next week and a trilateral meeting with Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelenskyy at the same time. Two people with knowledge of Donald Trump's plan told the New York Times that the American president intends to meet with Putin in person next week and immediately hold a trilateral meeting with Putin and Zelenskyy. It remains to be seen whether this will be realized. Many people, including European leaders, have doubts about the feasibility of this format and whether Vladimir Putin really intends to conduct substantive negotiations. European leaders will not be present at these meetings, which they have agreed to. The New York Times reports that a phone call took place yesterday, immediately after Steve Witkoff's meeting with Vladimir Putin. The collective call was attended by Donald Trump, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, Steve Witkoff, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, Finnish President Alexander Stubb, Emmanuel Macron, NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte, U.S. Vice President Jay DeVos, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Many people participated in the conversation, and there were many people to pass the information on to. The New York Times apparently received information from sources who had access to the content of the conversation. Donald Trump said that the prospect of a meeting is now very good, and there is a high probability of completing a round of negotiations and reaching a result. U.S. President Donald Trump speaks cautiously about the prospects of the meeting, using the following wording: high probability, very likely, high chances, good talks took place. This sounds optimistic, but Donald Trump does not give guarantees. He has already learned from his experience with Vladimir Putin that everything can break down at the last moment and change. It is not known what exactly Putin meant when he told Steve Witkoff that he wanted to meet with Trump. Currently, CNN, the New York Times, and Fox News are reporting that the initiative belongs to the Russian side. This time, the idea for the meeting came from Vladimir Putin. He proposed to meet with Donald Trump, and Trump took up and developed this initiative. The American president commented on possible progress in the negotiations on peace between Russia and Ukraine. There is a good prospect that the parties will agree. We have not yet determined the format, but today we had good talks with President Vladimir Putin. There is a high probability of completing the round and reaching a result, as the path has been long and remains so, but there are good chances that the meeting will take place soon. The chances of a meeting are good, but Donald Trump is not going to postpone sanctions. He has already announced additional tariffs against India for purchasing Russian oil. The next step will be to impose similar sanctions on China. Trump has made this clear, which shows his distrust of Vladimir Putin and his desire to strengthen his position before a potential meeting.
Розуміє, що треба перестрахуватися, потрібно посилити свої позиції перед такою потенційною зустрічю.